welcome to Impact 2026, our continuing conversation where we talk about all different types of subjects, current events, what's going on out there, race, religion, politics, everything you can think of. This is that opportunity that you have to come on and give your comments, give your 2 cents to be able to join in on the conversation. And to be able to do that, you can type your questions and your comments into the comments section, and so you can feel free to do that. And we'll bring it up. We will address it. As always, I like to address real quickly what other offerings we have. On Thursdays at 7:00, we have a time of Bible study, and so it's called Thursday Thirst, and that's when we get together and we go deep into the Bible. On Sundays at 10:00, we have worship service. That's here on Facebook and YouTube. Also, Thursday Thirst is on Facebook and YouTube. Services are also in person, so you can come to the address that's on the screen. And then on Tuesdays, today, we have a time of prayer from 7 to 7:45. And that's an opportunity where you can pray with other people in the ministry. You'll be praying at the same time that we are praying. You have to pray the whole time, but anytime between 7 and 7:45, you can be assured that you're praying with the ministry. And with that, we like to jump right into things. And so, look, everybody knows what's going on in the world. Everybody knows the craziness that's going on in the world. We are at war. The United States is at war with Iran. Now, we are not, what's the best way to put this? We are not professional historians. We are not professional, just people who are just steeped in the politics and know all the history and all the specifics of things that's going on. We don't have any 4-star generals here or anything that's going on with that. But what we do have is that common man, that common woman approach and touch when we're talking about what's going on in the world. And so regular people need to have conversations about it. We watch the news, we know what's going on. How are regular people thinking about it? And that's what we have here today. And so one of the first things we're going to do is we have to touch on what's going on because that's the biggest story out here. And so brought on Chris. And so going to bring you on the screen here, Chris.
All right.
How's it going?
All right. Glad to represent all the regular people around the world, yo.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, look, let's just start right there. You sat back here Saturday, you heard we decided to bomb Iran. Initial thoughts. Great, bad, crazy, just whatever. What's your initial thoughts when you first heard that we bombed Iran?
Well, I knew it was coming.
Mm-hmm.
This president that we have he's sporadic. So you can't really gauge what's going on. He just gets into it and he just lets it fly. He doesn't really think about it. And it's not a surprise, but I'm never going to be supportive of attacking somebody that's not a threat, to the United States or, any of its real allies. So I never saw Iran as a threat, but they control a lot of the world's money, as far as the oil trade. So if you notice, Venezuela, they were like the second largest producer of petroleum in the Western Hemisphere behind the United States. The Strait of Hormuz, which is that waterway between the Arabian Gulf and the Indian Ocean, 20% of the world's petroleum resources flow through that. So, I mean, he's taking out the competition. So if you're thinking from that angle, if you want to corner the market and kind of gain control of the petroleum industry, it's a good move, but I don't understand it. I'm not really a warmonger. So I kind of understand why he did it. I just don't support it.
Well, I've heard some commentary from some of the Iranian individuals who are not in Iran. So they represent Iran, but they're not in Iran. And so, you're talking about people who are diplomats, consulates, other things like that are in different areas. And one of them basically said, what are you doing? You said you were coming in for nuclear weapons. We didn't really have that. Then you said you were coming in because we were going to attack you. You don't have any proof that we were attacking you. And it just looks like you just wanted to come in and murder the Ayatollah. And you just want to come in and murder some people. He said, you're telling us that we're sponsors of terrorism, but who's the terrorizing? You're coming in and you're just murdering people because you don't like them.
Mm-hmm.
All of the terrorists, not us. You came into our land and you bombed us unprovoked. What do you think about that? Like, are we, like, at the end of the day, you sit back and you look at Venezuela, they won't do nothing to us. You look at Iran, won't do nothing to us. You look at Greenland, who they talk about, you know, they're not doing anything to us.
Greenland ain't doing nothing to nobody.
Right. Are we state-sponsored terrorism? Like, are we the terrorists?
We're the bullies. We're the bullies, man. Like, and that's the way it comes across to me. Like, we, you know, if you go back to that traditional school bully, hey, you got cookies in your lunch. I want that. You try to negotiate, say, hey, let me get one. You say, nah, I'm gonna take that then. Run them cookies, cuz. and that's what it looks like to me. And so, and I've heard some reports from some Iranians that left, I guess, had asylum or, you know, political refugees, and they're extremely happy. And they think that this was something that should have happened decades ago. And I had to kind of refresh myself on the history. And the history is that America put a leadership structure in place for Iran. And they were catering to American energy needs. And they were a good partner to have in that part of the world. Because again, majority of the world's petroleum, or a large portion of the world's petroleum flows out of that section of the world that Iran controls. And so they had the right people in there, but then the people sponsored by the Ayatollah started to take those resources back. And then that's the hostage situation that they're talking about. That, you know, I think they're, you know, a lot of people are mentioning it was a hostage situation because the Ayatollah and the people actually took over the government and took over the resources. So it was actually a people's revolution that was sponsored by the people. And so that created a large amount of people in Iran that were now refugees that got asylum to come to the United States. And so now but of course they're going to be supportive of this because they got kicked out of their country by the people that they were basically kind of, you know, exploiting, you know. And so it's hard to pick a side, but it's really a big bully move, I think.
Yeah. Now I've also heard some Iranians, they're kind of chuckling at us because you don't have no point. You just bomb some stuff. You really don't even know what you're bombing. Because last time we bombed in June and they said that we took out the nuclear facilities, and then now they're saying we still got nuclear facilities, and they were like, well, y'all don't know what's going on. But more so than that, they're claiming they're all happy because they killed Ayatollah. And there's people dancing in the streets, truly are, in Iran and here, because they're happy the Ayatollah is gone because he was over. They did kill a lot of Iranians. But they're laughing because they're sitting back here saying, okay, so you're blowing up a bunch of stuff. No playing. You're not going to put no, you know, they're laughing because they're like, you're not going to put troops in here because you know what's going to happen then. Then they're saying, you killed a guy who was 86 years old, who was already terminally ill. So you're proud of yourself that you did that? Like he was going to be gone soon anyway. And the leadership structure that they already put into place, because they're talking about, well, you need to have a regime change. We already still have it in place. They already had it. The three leaders that they have right now were the three leaders that were going to be there. They're kind of chuckling, like you doing all this, talked all this big stuff. Y'all gonna bomb for like a week and then maybe be gone. And so what did you get accomplished? You know, you look a little silly. That's some of the stuff that I'm hearing from the Iranian side. Now, who knows if that's right or wrong? I do know why are you happy that you killed an 86-year-old man who was terminally ill? It doesn't seem like it seems like a waste of resources. You probably could have waited it out.
Yeah, got the right. But I do think though that the leadership behind the Ayatollah, and I think the Ayatollah is the front. He's the religious front. Because for the people that don't know about Sunni and Shia Islam, like the Ayatollah is a descendant of the Prophet Muhammad's lineage.
Mhm.
So he's like really, it's almost like they killed the Pope. Like if somebody went in there and killed the Pope, like for Shia people or Shia Muslims, he was at that level, So if somebody came in and bombed Vatican City, that's
Mhm.
really that's the comparison that I make. That's what I see that we did to Iran. Even though we may not have agreed with him. And you know what? There was some oppression, there was some, some state sponsored, you know, harsh penalties for, stepping out of line. But I just don't like the idea of messing with somebody that's not messing with us.
Right.
And
And
that's what I think.
and we're gonna go to this comment. You got to
Yeah.
sit back and look. You got Iran, but how many countries in there like, well, they were just bad to their people and da 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 da. How many other countries are like that?
The United States is like that.
Right.
They just shot a white dude in the face in the streets
Mhm.
for for yelling for holding the sign up.
Right. And
Like,
so their secret police call the Revolutionary Guard. Our secret police call ICE.
oh, ICE. It's the same. It's the
It
same
is. It
setup.
is. So, to the comment, the president has admitted that he, not Israel, decided to attack Iraq. I think that's Iran.
Iran.
Iran. Why would you bring a country to a negotiation table only to start a war with no provocation? The president's claimed that they were about to attack us. However, he gives no evidence. Right. There's no evidence of that. And they were supposed to have a meeting on Thursday in Geneva. So why would you say, hey, we're going to negotiate on Thursday and then you're going to start a war on Saturday? A little weird. Here's another one. Let's be honest. The president needed to cause a misdirection of the Epstein files and he and Clinton's appearance before the committee. There are also some Iranians who are shouting "Death to America." Absolutely. So that hits right where it at. Is this just a distraction of what's going on here? Because not even just the Epstein files. You got the Epstein files, but you also have an economy that was already crumbling. So the stock market is falling now because of Iran, but it was also already falling because we have a problem with AI, we have a problem with inflation, we have a problem with tariffs, and so we have a lot of things going on. Do you think this may have been just a big old distraction?
Yeah, I think it was the wrong kind of distraction because this is the kind of distraction that's going to create disruption. So there was in Austin over the weekend, it was a mass shooting, and they said that this man may have been tied to some Iranian terror cells, which I believe. I watch a lot of these conspiracy shows. I believe there are thousands of Iranian terrorists in every major city. Not just 1,000, but thousands in every major city. So there's 1,000, there's a couple of thousand in Chicago. There's probably 10 in New York. There's probably 10,000 in Los Angeles, in Houston, in Miami. They are here. We don't know who they are. We don't know when they're going to attack. We don't know why or what they're going to use, what place it creates so much disorder and disarray within us. And we already got to be concerned about, the poor white boys that don't have girlfriends shooting up everybody. And now we got to deal with, actually trained terrorists that are here that have been set up to make these kinds of attacks. It's just, I'd rather just the president just go ahead and show all the pictures of him and all these girls that we already know he's there. We already know he was doing stuff. Just go ahead and get in front of it, man. Stop trying to look like a good guy.
Right. Another comment. Do you feel that Trump's son should have served in the military? The claim that he has a medical condition that prevents him from serving. You think yeah, that's a good one. Do you actually think that you have Trump who didn't serve in the military? None of his family served in the military. We used to have this thing of where presidents generally were people who served in the military.
Mm-hmm.
The first one I can think of was Bill Clinton. He didn't serve, and then it just went on to a whole nother. Obama didn't serve, and then Bush didn't really serve. And then of course Trump didn't serve. Do you think that it's something to maybe if you didn't serve, at least have some family members that serve, because then you have a little bit more understanding and appreciation for the value of life. Because you're just sending people out here. I'm not even talking about American lives, because I think that this is ridiculous that you're just killing people, because we don't even know how many civilians were killed in Venezuela.
Yeah,
but we know that at least 200 have already died in Iran. You're just killing people, and you're having no kind of appreciation for life. Is that because no military experience anywhere?
No, I don't think so. I think because if you look at the history, all of the military leaders got into wars. So, like, I don't think it makes that much of a difference, because they're taking cues from Trump's not doing this because Trump wants to do it. There are people that are saying, "Hey, this is the movie we need to make," and so, and it's probably, I mean, more than likely, some of his Joint Chiefs are saying, "Hey, look, this might be a good move. Let's go ahead and do it now." Mm-hmm. It might be. I mean, I don't think that he himself has the knowledge of war and international politics to make this kind of decision straight up. I think somebody influenced him, whether it was Netanyahu, the Israeli prime minister, or some of his generals, to make this move.
I would lean towards Netanyahu, and the reason being because normally the United States does not go into war without a coalition, and so we would have had some allies, and we would have had some friends. Matter of fact, England, Great Britain did not let us use one of their bases in order to attack Iran, and so normally we have a coalition of folks. So if this was the generals and except not in his cabinet, but this was people who actually know war and were military advisors, I don't think that they would advise something that doesn't make sense like this. You would have had a coalition. We went into Iraq with a coalition. It was the United Nations. It was a coalition. We went into this with Israel. It's just us and them. That's crazy. So that's the only reason I would push back. I'd be like, man, I think this was more just him, his cabinet, who none of them, and Netanyahu, because Israel, I think they basically was like, "You gonna do this," and Trump was like, "Okay."
Well, I think Israel was like, "Well, we're going to do it. So you want part of this? You want to get in?" Like, and of course, Trump said, "Oh yeah." And it's also another distraction. I mean, I was thinking about this. It's an election year.
Yeah,
and so the polls say, historically, during war times or times of conflict internationally, the president in office does very well, or his party does very well. So the likelihood, that has to be something that people think about. Like, maybe he's trying to, get some clout for the Republican Party. Like, all right, we're in war, and it's a successful war. We're winning right now. And if we're able to bomb them and keep, casualties of American troops and low, and still kind of protect the homeland, and he might mess around and get the gas prices down. If he little things trick people into, swaying votes, so.
That's a good point. That's a good point. And so I'll go to this now, before we pivot off of this. You kind of made a little point about the Iranians being here, or not even that they're Iranians, just terror cells in different places.
Hmm.
Um, you know, as we look out here, we go to school, we go to church, we go to sporting events. Should there, and when we talk to family and friends, should there be some extra caution going on? Usually, I'm going to say this, and it's going to sound funny, but it's not. But usually we have a black pass. They're not messing with us and where we go because they know we ain't the problem. So if you're doing it, the safest place in the world right now is probably the HBCU. But
Hey.
what do you think about that as far as how we live our lives? Do we have to step with a little bit of caution right now? What would you say if family and friends came to you and was like, "Hey man, Chris, what we gonna do?"
Well, I don't live in fear. So, and I'm not going to promote anybody living in fear, but just be very vigilant when you're going into areas where there are large amounts of people. Malls, movie theaters, and we're getting ready to get to the summertime, so amusement parks, and I know security is stepped up, but I just would say just be cautious, keep your head on the swivel.
Mm-hmm.
In the words of the great Nipsey Hussle, stay dangerous. So you know what's going on with life. Just pay attention, keep your eyes up, because you never know. You never knew before, but now, just to add that other, little bit of awareness to what's happening.
Yeah. Okay. All right. All right. Now I'm a pivot, and I kind of gave you a little heads up on this story. So if you have not heard about this, a North Carolina mother went Christmas shopping 24 years ago. Going to go Christmas shopping at Kmart. There ain't no Kmart's really around, so this was a long time. So 24 years ago, a mother went shopping at Kmart, and she just disappeared. And her family has been looking for her. They had police reports. The police have been looking for her. Couldn't find her. And then they had a tip all of a sudden just this year. And the woman was found alive and fine by the sheriffs in Virginia. So she was in North Carolina, went Christmas shopping, and somehow now, that was 24 years ago, now she's in Virginia. She was 38 years old when she disappeared. And so now she's in her 60s. And so she has a daughter. She has daughters, sons, grandkids. She disappeared. Sheriff's found her, 100% fine, no problems. She just said, don't tell my family where I'm at, and I'm not going to contact her. The daughter who's been looking, she's put her stuff on Facebook and said, she has a bunch of mixed emotions. She's happy, she's angry, she's confused. She doesn't know whether or not she's going to have a relationship with her mother going forward. Again, her mother's in her 60s now. Left when she was 38, 24 years later. You can do the math. So, a lot of people are saying this is crazy. Is there anything that you can think of where you could sit back and a mother just leaves and abandons her whole entire family, and you can sit back and you can be like, all right, they should get back together. They should reconcile. What were we telling this family? Like, should they be angry? Should they try to get back with this mother? And we're going to think about this. Let's think about this on two hats. Think about it from their standpoint, and then think about it as, all right, we got to be offering out forgiveness. We got to be, let's be humane about this. What's your thoughts on this situation?
Well, the daughter is definitely, her kids should definitely be disappointed and angry. I understand that anger that you would have, but you should also kind of recognize that, their mom, even though she left them and abandoned them, may be the greatest hide and go seek player of all times. It took them 20 years to find this lady.
Right.
That's amazing. And you're alive, and with the technology that we have now, and the cameras, and she was
Mhm.
able to hide for 24 years. That's that's a feat. You gotta give her a little bit of respect for that.
Yeah.
That's
And so, well,
24 years. God dad, that's a masterful escape plan, She got away with it.
right. It boggles my mind because it's not like the lady changed her name or anything like that. And so all she did was she moved from North Carolina, lived right near the border, went to Virginia, and that's where she hid out at. And so, you know, a lot of people, and again, I've been watching comments now because as you go through these stories, you look at the comments. First thing is all the men are mad because they're like, "Oh, you got to hit her up for child support. You can't just dip out like that."
Oh yeah,
That's the first thing.
for
But
24 years? That's crazy.
but yeah, it boggles my mind that somebody could leave, and you never know the situation. They were
Yeah.
saying that it was just the daughter. Daughters don't really know what's going on in the parents' lives, but they were saying it wasn't like an abusive situation. It's just they got problems and things like that, just like anybody got problems. But to disappear from your kids, not call your kids, not want to hit your kids up. These are your kids. Um, I can see you don't want to be with your husband no more. That's what's up. You don't want to be around your family no more. That's what's up. But your kids, and then you got grandkids now, and you don't even want to see them. You don't even want to do a Zoom call.
Yeah.
Um, as a kid, that gotta hurt. Like I don't know. But if the kids came to you again, they was like, hey Chris, what should we do? Do we need to forgive our mom and try to build a relationship with our mom, or do we just forgive our mom and just be like, forget about it? Like you died 24 years ago.
Hey, well, that's it's a story that I actually know some people that had a very similar situation. So, it's a forgiveness thing. It's definitely going to test your forgiveness. And
Mm-hmm.
so, and and to that family that, it's you really have to understand and forgive, and even if it was I just didn't feel like dealing with y'all no more and I left.
Mm-hmm.
You got to be able to acknowledge that, respect it, and then let it be what it is. And that's tough, especially, I don't know how old her kids were when she left, but that's definitely something that, could, spark some major trauma in a child. One day mommy's here and at Christmas time, supposedly the happiest time of year,
Right.
she just vanishes and I don't see her for decades. I
Mm-hmm.
have kids, and so like I can't talk to my mom about her grandkids or how to be a mom and stuff like this because she's not there. And then just to find out that she just left and she's still here, she's still safe, she's still alive. That's a lot. That's
Mm-hmm.
and so I feel for that. I feel for those children and I feel for their grandchildren too, because that's I think one of the beautiful parts of being a grandparent that I'm looking forward to is you get to see yourself. And for a child, you get to see what you're going to be like, what it's going to be like when you get that age. So you get to see yourself in your grandparents at a young age. So you know what you can grow into, and that was taken from them. So I mean, it's sad, but I bet nobody wants to challenge that lady in hide and go seek.
I know that's right. Comment similar to what you're saying. There is no one answer. Why did she leave? What was her mental state? Every situation has its own issue. I've actually seen something similar, and people grow and change. Yeah, that's the one thing that I always try to remind people, man. Sometimes, especially with guys, man, some of us mature late.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
and when I say late, like some of us don't mature until we're 40,
yeah.
50. You know what I mean? 60.
Mhm.
some guys we just mature late. Now I don't know. I'm not a woman, so I can't speak to that side, but I know that's how some guys are. And they'll be terrible parents on the front end and great parents on the back end, or great grandparents on the back,
They had great advice.
Right. Oh yeah, right. And they'll be the
Offered
first to say
advice.
that.
We're like, hold on, cuz you won't even. But hey, I had a hard life, man.
Right. But I don't know how you feel about it. I don't know. If your mom doesn't want to see you, for me, I think my advice would be, don't worry about it. You have to forgive because you can't be carrying that burden with you. But I don't think you need to try to reconnect with somebody that doesn't want to connect with you. You got so many people that love you in your life. Don't try to chase the one today. So,
that hurts, yeah, and that hurts though. That hurts,
Yeah.
To have that feeling where your mama doesn't love you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I can see how tough that would be, boy.
Yep. And so, it's a crazy one. But all right. I know. Look, no good fun news today. We got war in Iran, and then we got ladies disappearing for 24 years and the kids. So no good news, unfortunately.
Well, the greatest hide and go seek player of all times.
Right. Another comment. This guy really never put on us more than we can bear. Good question. They can handle it because obviously these kids grew up and became, and you know what?
May have been easier if they never knew.
But but she might have been a terrible mom. She might have been a terrible grandma. She might have been doing them a favor.
That's true.
We got to think about that too. Like, hey man, get up out of here. I don't need that. So who knows? All right, Chris, man, we done hit our time, man. I appreciate you joining us. I appreciate your insight.
Always a pleasure, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's tough issues, man. It's real world stuff out here, and we got to talk about it. We got to make it happen. So again, I really appreciate you. Just as a reminder to everyone, again, on Thursdays, Thursday Thirst, that's our weekly Bible study, 7:00, Facebook, YouTube. On Sundays, 10 a.m., we have worship service that is in person and Facebook and YouTube if you want to join us. And then at 7:00 on Tuesdays, we have a time of prayer from 7 to 7:45. All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. We'll be here same time, same place next week. All right. Have a good one.